Everyone, it's Mr. Walker here with the test correction videos. You need to make sure that you answer the questions that come after my explanation. You need to be able to get 100% in order to adjust your grade. So let's take a look at question number 3 here, one that says select all values that equal -7/9. Looking at all of these, I would think of them also like division. Those little fraction lines can be also looked at as division. So with this first one, or just to do a quick recap, anything that has the same sign, like a negative divided by a negative or a positive divided by a positive, is going to equal a positive answer. Okay. Now, if it is opposite signs, like a negative divided by a positive, your answer is going to be negative. So let's go ahead and take a look at letter A. So I have a negative divided by a negative. Well, that's going to give me a positive, so that one's not good. We're looking for negative answers. Looking at letter B, inside of the parentheses, that value is going to be positive because it's a negative divided by a negative again. And this negative sign outside is going to make that equal -7/9. Remember, the inside is worth +7/9. But with the addition of that negative sign outside, it makes it negative. Let's look at our next one. We have a negative divided by a positive. Now I know that the negatives divided by a positive are going to give me a negative answer, but we have that negative sign outside. So the opposite of a negative is positive. So we don't want that one. On the next one, we have a positive divided by a negative. We talked about that earlier. That should give you a negative answer. And letter E, you have positive divided by a negative. Inside the parentheses, that's going to be a negative. And if I have the negative sign outside, it's going to make it the opposite. So the opposite of a negative is positive. So this one had two answers, letter B and letter D. All right, let's move on to our next question here. Using the number line, determine which of these values is equal to +16. So just a quick heads up, when you're looking at this one, you want it to equal +16 here. Now I know if on a subtraction problem, we're talking about the difference. The difference between the numbers should be 16. And if it goes to the right, going from a smaller number to the bigger number, we're going to have a positive answer. So let's look at letter A. So you're going from +8 to -8. The distance between those two is -16. Let's look at my next one here. I have -4 minus 12, so you're going from 12 to the -4. That's also -16. The next one is -3 minus -13. So you're going from this -13 right here, or close to that spot. I should say that's probably more like -14. So it's probably like right here, going to -3, which is about right here, go in that direction. That's only 10 places away, positive, because the arrow is going right. So +10 on that one. So far we haven't had any that are worth +16. All right, let's take a look at letter D. -2 minus -18. So you're going from the -18, which is about right here, all the way up to -2, which is right there. So it's a positive direction because the arrow goes right. That one is worth +16. Letter E, 2 minus -14. So you're starting at -14, which is right here, going all the way to the right to 2. That's right here. Remember, arrows to the right are positive, and the gap between 14 and 0 is 14 plus 2 more, +16. Okay, remember you're looking for the gap in between the numbers. You can count it up: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. All right, and the last one, 10 minus -6. So you're going from the -6, which is right here, to the 10. Arrows going to the right are positive. And let's see, the gap from here to here is 6. From here to here is 10. That's a gap total of 16. So that one is also 16. So remember, you're going from the second number on all of them to the first number. If the arrow goes to the right, it's positive. If the arrow is going to the left, it's a negative answer. And then you just count out how many spaces in between there are. All right, let's move on to our next question. It says the vertical number line below represents diving board and pool. The diving board is at 10 feet, and the pool has a depth of 6 feet, so that's 6 feet deep. Enrique stands on the diving board, which is at point A. He jumps off the diving board to point B. After a few seconds, he swims to point C. Determine whether each statement is true or false. So let's kind of just walk through this and kind of see what it's at. So here is his diving board at 10. 0 is where the pool starts. He jumps off, and there's my little guy Enrique. He's going to jump off, and he's going to go all the way to point B. All right, so he doesn't quite make it all the way to the bottom to -6. He gets to point B. Then he swims back up to point C, which is where the surface of the water's at. All right, so let's look at our statements down below. The equation 10 minus -5, and remember these signs that are outside mean the absolute value of that, making everything positive, represents the difference between the highest point and the lowest point of Enrique. Yeah, I would say that's true. You're looking at the highest point, he's at 10. His lowest point is here. The distance between them is 15, right? To go from here up here takes him 5 to get back to the surface and 10 to get back to the diving board. Enrique is underwater at point B. Is he underwater here? Yeah. The change in elevation for Enrique from point B to point C is represented by -5 minus 0 equals -5. So he's going from point B up to point C. So he's going up, right? So should his change in elevation be negative? No. If he's going up, it's kind of like going right on the number line from before. It should be +5. We should have like the absolute value signs to make that true. There's a difference of 5 in his change. All right. Difference in 5 in his change in elevation. All right, and the last one. The rational numbers a and 6 are plotted on the number line. Based on the number line, which of these statements is true? So let's kind of look at these numbers. It's okay if you want to put numbers in for these letters. So let's look at point A. Well, here would be -1, right? That would be -3, -4, -5, -6. And then over here, C is worth 2. So now that we know that, we could start looking at the problems. The value of A minus C is positive. Let's see. -6 minus C, which is 2, right? That's equal to -8. The gap between these two numbers is 8 spaces away. Going left makes it negative. So A is not positive. Let's look at letter B. The value of the opposite, which is what that part means, minus C is positive. So let's see, the opposite of A minus 2 is positive. Okay, let's kind of look at this. What's the opposite of negative 6? Positive 6, right? So what's 6 minus 2? You can probably do that one in your head. 4. The gap between 6 and 2 is 4, going right, positive. So here's our correct answer here. So it kind of helps out sometimes just to put the numbers in for those letters and then just substitute that number in to your equations that they have in the problem in your options. So wherever you see a C, put 2. Wherever you see an A, put negative 6. That'll help you out. All right. So go ahead and make sure that you have all of your answers done correctly and uh, email me to let me know that your corrections have been done.